Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're focusing in on one pervasive and general and basic quality of a narcissistic as well as psychopathic individual quality traits and manipulation, and that is having unrealistic expectations. It is the grandiosity. It is having unrealistic expectations for themselves, their achievements, their life, and they hold these unreal expectations onto others. So they tend to be constantly critical, constantly demeaning, constantly blindsiding, making you feel like you're not good enough, like you're not measuring up, like you are not pleasing them. So this creates a compulsion or a propulsion to want to do better. But the issue and the problem is that it causes you to want to do better for them and not do better for yourself. So we find this external validation, looking for the approval, looking for the acknowledgement, looking for the recognition from the narcissist or the psychopath to the victim or the supply. And this creates a perpetual cycle of disappointment, which then creates in depression, anxiety, and oftentimes catastrophic and crippling post-traumatic stress syndrome. Because the compulsion to be with this person and get back to the love bombing stage, get back to the promises, get back to the illusion is so strong and so pervasive that this intermittent behavior or intermittent reward that the supply or the one who is being used as manipulated feels a intermittent reward by them. So occasionally, getting the acknowledgement, the love, the sense of belonging that from this individual which they're seeking, it keeps them working very, very hard to please them. But then this impacts all areas of their life where they become extremely other-focused rather than self-focused, or having a healthy sense of self-esteem, which is internal, which cannot be taken away or marred by anyone else because it's inside of somebody. And I know that this is deep stuff, but I think it's important to understand this other focus and how these unrealistic expectations that the narcissist has of themselves and others, how it impacts you, how it deters you from self-acceptance, unconditional positive self-regard, and keeping you away from your very destiny and living your purpose. Because your purpose only becomes aware to you when you really begin to have faith in yourself, have faith and trust in yourself, and develop yourself as an individual entity, person, being, individual extraordinaire, away from people pleasing. So this is a shift. This is a journey. It's not an overnight process, but it's very important to understand that these unrealistic expectations that the individual holds onto you. So the unrealistic expectations might be the amount of attention you have to give them, the amount of time that you have to give them, the amount of energy. It could be, putting up with just one-sided discussions all the time where everything is all about them. And this can be very exhausting. Yes, you can be an active listener, supportive, nurturing, but it tends to be very one-sided and really all about them. And that becomes very exhausting. That becomes very tiring, and that becomes very boring. I mean, it's not very fun if you can't have, spontaneity, if you can't be yourself, if you constantly have to be, prancing around and dancing around this narcissist and their needs and their judgment and making sure that they're okay, making sure that they're happy, because the narcissist tends to be the one in control of the entire environment. So keeping them happy, keeping them out of narcissistic rage, keeping them out of narcissistic criticism of others, keeping things just perfect for them, satisfying their whims, satisfying their mood, satisfying their personality disorder. and being an extension of them. So you're living in essence as an extension to them. So oftentimes then we see the social anxiety present when others try to go out and then live their life independently away from this individual. It's like they have no balance, they have no groundedness, they have no bearing. It's difficult for them to communicate. It's difficult for them to back up their own identity, their own opinion, feelings, needs, wishes, desires, personality, be their own person. So, for example, because they've never tested their wings, they've never had that confidence, they've always been other focused, they've always been walking on eggshells. They've always had to attend to the needs of this individual rather than pursuing their own life. And so it feels wrong for them to go out and like be on their own and not be constantly indebted to this individual, to not be traumatically bonded, to not be indebted, to not be, other focused specifically, on this one narcissist. I mean, the narcissist has a way through their love bombing to make life feel like their life in general is all about them. And, unfortunately, that is not the case. You have to come out of hiding. You have to come out from behind the narcissist. You have to come out and emerge. You have to come out of the cocoon of people pleasing them. You have to break free. You have to go through that breakthrough process. The I am. This is who I am. This is who I can talk to. This is the level that I like to exist in. I don't like to play the games. I don't like the cattiness. I don't like the judgment. I don't like the superficial, using others as a stepping stone. I remember with my marketing group going to the West Hollywood area, and I was developing a new product and taglines for Taco Bell, a number of which my ideas did go to market and are part of their concepts, their new product concept and development today. And coming into that area, my group was based out of the Midwest. It's like a hard work ethic. It's a little bit different mentality really than the West Hollywood area. And I think that area with your stardom and, your movie producers and your actresses, that whole area is just filled with narcissistic individuals. And just being there for the couple of days and working on that new product development, that creative brainstorming, and being able to go out and go to some of the finest restaurants and seeing movie stars and, sitting over at the other table, Shell just like, hush, 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 but the stepping stone climate that is part of Hollywood, the kitschiness with just like, oh, who do you know, and like going to parties just to get to know who you know, who you know, who you know. I mean, it becomes a very uninstinctual way to live, and so that's how really the narcissist is. And although I don't live in Hollywood, have only been there for a couple of days, just going through that environment, I could feel the vapidness of that culture, of that area. And vapid means empty. It means without soul. And, I'm out of the Midwest and part of the United States and, near the Chicago area. And Chicago has a lot of soul. It has a lot of style. It has a lot of very strong work ethic. It has a very strong financial district. It has a strong theater. It has a strong music presence. Really a lot of strong suits in terms of corporate centers in this area. And, there's a lot of substance, I would say. But yet, in some of the areas, you get a lot of that narcissism as well, and psychopathic corporates. We have a lot of financial districts, financial houses, etc., which tend to be run rampant with these types. And although there isn't the same theater presence as like Hollywood, we do have a very strong, a lot of people who do come from the area who go onto Hollywood. And, I do have a number of friends who are who are movie stars and, doing that whole route, professional musicians, things of this nature. But, there's a vapidness, there's a superficialness to the relationships. And oftentimes you find that that is not how you want to connect to others. It's very exhausting. It doesn't leave you feeling good, refreshed. It can leave you feeling a sense of vapidness or emptiness. And so this oftentimes is how a narcissist or psychopathic relationship feels. And you don't want to feel that any longer. So it's important to connect with others on the level that you wish to connect, which is without, oftentimes I find that most people who are recovering, they don't want to play the games. They don't like to live in judgment of people. They are open. They have very open hearts. They are people with big hearts. They are people who are caring, who have a lot of empathy, and who have a strong moral conscience and operate by a sense of integrity. So they don't really get on very well with narcissistic or psychopathic individuals because of their foundation in integrity and compassion and empathy and embracing life and really the finer emotions of life, which are oftentimes based out of integrity, compassion, and empathy, and then working to strive for those and a vision of those as an ideal. Their reality oftentimes is more substantial with that versus a psychopathic relationship. So as you can imagine, it's important to go no contact with that sort of energetic approach or perception of life, and realize that the wounds that are incurred as a result of narcissistic relationships are on the psychological, emotional, and oftentimes even the physical level. It can create actual physical disease. So you need to get away from the source of the woundedness. You need to get away from, it's like the toxicity. It's just like if you're a smoker and you have lung cancer, you've just been diagnosed, chances are the doctor's number one thing they're gonna say is you need to quit smoking. You just need to stop this, this is causing you cancer. This is causing you, the cilia in your lungs to become paralyzed, and you're now have cancer cells, abnormal cells taking over your lungs, and that's why you can't breathe. And that's why we need to surgically remove part of your lung and put you on oxygen now, because you have cancer of the lungs. You have lung cancer. So it's just kind of like the same experience with narcissistic or psychopathic individuals. They have such a negative, deleterious, and toxic effect that you need to get away from them. You need to stop contact with them. You need to stop putting them in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, in your image, in your emotional center, in your limbic brain. You need to stop putting them in. You need to get them out. So you need to go no contact. You need to get away from them. You need to stop thinking about them, because stopping thinking about them is almost like being on secondhand smoke. It's like you're still, inhaling them into your system. It's going to start to still give you the diseased effects. You're going to smell the smell of the secondhand narcissist. You're going to breathe the secondhand air of the narcissist. It's just going to continue to keep you stuck. It's going to keep you toxic. It's going to keep the negative element of them around. It's an energy. It's part of their perspective. It's part of the things that they say, the way that they make you feel. And your feelings is energy in motion. And so your feelings permeate your body, and your feelings also create your thoughts and your belief in yourself. So if you're in this negative mindset with them, you're going to have negative thoughts about yourself and negative self-belief, and it's going to direct your behavior. It's going to direct what you're directly bringing into your life, and it's going to affect all areas of your life, and it's going to keep you down. It's going to keep you feeling stuck around this individual. That's just how this narcissistic or psychopathic personality disorder impacts people. And so, yes, they play the game with rotating their sources, their supply. So don't feel bad by letting them go. If you feel like you have let yourself down, perhaps that is the biggest issue, because You feel like, you have made a mistake, and so you need to forgive yourself. I made a mistake by trusting this individual. I made a mistake by thinking that this was my knight in shining armor or my princess in shining armor. This is not the one for me, and I made a mistake, and I'm glad that I've learned the lesson. And so when we talk about getting in your recovery journal, making sure you write your lessons learned, write the stuff down in here, get your sections going, and take your recovery seriously. No one is going to save you if you don't save yourself. I'm providing you a consulting service here. I have a wealth and years of knowledge, which I'm giving for free, which I'm giving you the tools. You have to use it and apply it. You have to put it into action. You have to put it into motion. You need to take your recovery seriously. It's an emotional healing. It's an emotional journey. You need to put this into effect, though, so that you can begin to recover and get the strength and then validate yourself rather than being negatively validated by a narcissistic or psychopathic abuser. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.